So it is very fascinating landscape, isn't it? So I think you should know what is this kind of landform, and you are always seeing this. Hello student, I'm Mr. Leung, and then right here I'm in the Castle Peak area now, okay, which is regarded as the 5-star difficulties, our 5-star trail in the Hong Kong hiking news. Okay, so it's a difficult road at all. Okay, and also it's also a practice area of the army, so that I'm not really suggest you to go here, but you can see there's a lot of gully and also a bad land which is formed by the chemical weathering, and also there are some landscape formed by the physical weathering, and I will introduce to you one by one, and you can see right here I'm in a gully. You may also be curious about what is the formation behind this gully and also the badland, and actually you have to be careful about what is the chemical weathering processes and also the whole weathering processes. So right here we are having a lot of chemical weathering which include the solution hydrolysis and also the carbonation and also the hydration. So all together they are working together to breaking down the larger piece of rock into smaller piece of rock, and then you can find the landscape which is like this. And but it's not just about weathering. On top of the weathering there is erosion, which is just like what you are seeing here. The water is going to, you can see a lot of watershed and also a lot of drainage basin right here, and then the water going to wash the wet material away, and then it is being washed to the downward area. And then you can see in this side there in the lower stream area there's a lot of flat land. It's also the result of the erosion, and you can see right here is also being created by the water. It's eroded by the water. Hello, it's me again, and then it's also I'm also in one of the peak again in the Castle Peak, and then I would like to show you that the minerals right here, or the soil, I cannot really say it's soil indeed. Okay, the soil right here is lighter. The color is lighter than the one that I've just shown in the slope of the Castle Peak, and then you can find out that that's one of the minerals I have picked up, and then you can see it's quite bright in color. And as you know, right here it is the granite area, and then what is it? It's coarse, and then it is quite hard indeed. Okay, okay, it's quite hard. Okay, quite hard. Okay, and I would like to introduce this landscape to you. Okay, wow, very fascinating. And what is this landscape? For this one I think it would better be gullies. Okay, so some of the time the past paper is mixing two things up, okay, which include gullies and also badland. But in this, if it is just having a hole like this and just this hole and nothing more, and you can see the entire area is still having a lot of greenery, and I think this one will be the gullies. Okay, and you can find out inside the gullies there's a lot of reels, and right here this one is the reels. Okay, this one, okay, 嗰啲窿窿就係 reels 啊。 Okay, if we are talking about a large area which is forming a trough like area, and which is a depression, and then this is the gullies. Okay, you can see the both. I think you can find out that both physical and chemical weathering is taking place here, and then first of all you can find out some joint, and then it may developing into the wheels, and then you can find some torus like pattern, and then right here it looks like the tall stone of the chemical weatherings. Okay, so you can find out the gullies is taking place is right here. Okay, in the Castle Peak and one of the landscape in the Castle Peak, and you can see this one is the quite a large scale of the badland. But meanwhile, you can see some trees right here, and it can help them to retain the shape, which is you can see the grassroots right here. Wait a minute, because I'm standing in quite a dangerous position. Okay, and then let's get back to here. And then you can see there's a lot of grassroots which can help to retain the soil. And then you can see apart from this kind of land, and right here you can find relatively more sediment. Okay, maybe it's rock, but still it's a sediment. Okay, and the presence of vegetation can help to enhance the shear strength, which is talking about we can bind the soil together, and also it can help us to retain the shape of the slope, as well as it can reduce the shear stress, because the plant itself can absorb more water, and then fewer water will be inside right here. And you can see right here where we are having some plants right here, the soil tends to be soil, not the rock. And you can see, okay, some of them are rock, but I'm just talking about this kind of thing is rock, but indeed you can see some of them is the soil. And then if we have more plant, it can help us to make the soil cohesive, bind together, and then there's some water remainder here, and then it can help us to make the soil cohesive. Okay, make it become cohesive. Okay, the cohesiveness will be enhanced. Okay, so this is how the trees work. Sorry for the tourists right there, and they keep talking. And you can see I'm just in the burned forest kind of, and then actually you can find that there's no raining, the weather is very good. And thus I would like to show you something, which is even though there's low vegetation, which can help to retain the soil water, but still you can find some water right here. Okay, and it's floating indeed. You can see, let me zoom up a little bit. There's some water flowing, although it's not very much. So accordingly, indeed, this is how the infiltration works. Since some of the vegetation is in, some of the water is stored in the underground layer, and then it, like a sponge, and absorb some of the moisture during the raining time, and then right now they are going to be released. Okay, so even though there's nothing there and not raining here, still there's something that supplying the water to the river. Okay. And then you can see right here is also about the gully erosion, and then you can see there's a watershed right here. Not watershed, there's a drainage right here, and then it's going to erode the soil and also the water downward to the basin right there. And you can see there's some water right here, although the burning make it not really quite clear, but right here is some, you can find some water inside. Okay, and for the Castle Peak, indeed there's not much question about Castle Peak, but actually in the question bank, the one I have give you later, there's a lot of question about Castle Peak, and it is worth to have a look. And first of all, what is the Castle Peak? And Castle Peak mainly make up by this kind of rock. I think you can understand this is what type of rock. If you don't know, really suggest you not to take this year DSE, okay? Because this is a very easy concept I've introduced 1,000 times to you already. So on top of that, and you can see I've just passed through a lot throughout the trip. I had just passed through a lot of
hill-fired site. And what are the problem caused by the hill-fire site? Mainly because of this, because of the graveyard, and then some of the rural villagers is going to worship their ancestor and then burning a lot of things, and this kind of things is not going, this kind of burning is not going to take care, and then it will spread out, and then it will making the situation even worse again. Okay, and let's go through what is the characteristic of the pontonic rock or granite, and you can see it right here. First of all, how it is formed, that crystallization occur when the magma intrude to the trapped inside the crust, which is the internal intrusive volcanism. Okay, so but why is it going to say this? Because it will form the interlocking crystallized structure. Okay, what's crystalline? 即係結晶咁解 which is made up by different kinds of crystal, just like feldspar, mica, and also quartz. Okay, the cooling rate is low, so that the grain size is large, and then magma contract upon cooling. And I think similar things I have introduced to you in the volcanic rock already, which is in the high island reservoir part, and then it is well jointed, and then high temperature of magma destroy all the dead plants and animals, so low fossil right there. Okay, and but why is going to form out the landscape like this, just like throughout the field trip I have just encountered, and it should be the chemical weathering. But you shouldn't just tell me chemical weathering. After the chemical weathering, as I've told you before, there's a lot of drainage, there's a lot of river, and then it is also response to wearing the weathered material away. Okay, since the regolith is smooth, and then it's removed by the erosion, either by the water or wind. Okay, so the mass wasting will occur, and then the core stone will be remained, and maybe even the gully and also the badland will be formed. Okay, but for here, why the situation of why? Because you can see some rock here, and then it's tools. Okay, or core stone. Okay, but you may also say that what are the why is forming a reels for the feature EZ. Okay, where's feature EZ right here, and which is also the very typical landscape in the Castle Peak, and you can find a lot of reels. But reels, how is it going to be formed? First of all, the vegetation is absent in that area, and then the topsoil is exposed, and then the wind keep blowing, and also the water keep washing away the rare material, and then it will contract, and then the crack is produced. During the rainy season, rainwater will flow along the wall and the crack one off an overland fall, and then all the soil will be removed, and then the narrow channels left behind we'll call as reels, and then if the reels is going to develop deeper and wider, and we'll call it gully. Okay, so reels is just the smallest things, and then if it keep developing, and it will become gully, and then finally it will become badland if all the whole land area is categorized with the gully. Okay, so how about C1? What are the human activities affected right there? Okay, you can see some people walking here, and then also some graveyard, and I do have some similar things in the EP1 mock exam already. Okay, if the people keep walking, you have to mention trembling. Okay, and also a lot of people will remove the vegetation for hiking trail. Maybe during the hiking, they love to set up some area to farm and also to chat with, and I do find a lot of this kind of self-made shelter made by the hiking guys in the Castle Peak, and they will even play the cards, okay, within the shelter. Okay, and also there is a lot of grave in the Castle Peak, and then the grave scrubbing activities may cause hill fire, and then it will burn away a lot of vegetation cover, as you have just seen in the video, and then a lot of land will become unprotected and barren. And you may argue that it is also favorable to the Gulf Leaf formation and also erosion and then the forming of cracks, forming of rills, forming of kali, forming of badland, and so on and so forth. And you may argue whether the afforestation is useful or not. Yes, to a certain extent, yes. And because the roots of tree will brine the soil and then reduce the runoff, blah blah blah. Okay, the erosion will be reduced. I think you should learn this in the CP6, but not in EP1. Don't trying to say that EP1 is difficult because you really haven't integrated things that from the CP6 and also CP7 and also CP5. Okay, what are the ineffectiveness? Maybe it takes long time to grow, and then not really going to have a desired impacts, and then the trees may be deep branch root and anchor the soil. It also depends on the type of trees, and huge fire will also no matter how hard we are afforestating, the huge fire is still going to destroy all the trees, so it will not be a very good situation, and then it will reducing the measures. So accordingly, you can find out my Facebook, and then I just shared one of the better method where kind of genuine measures that is going to help to reduce the problem of the enhance the effectiveness of the afforestation. And then you can see right here is using a drone, and then is trying to relieve the problem of the landslide, okay, because it's in Chinese indeed, so that I just mute the sound, and then you can find out they're using a drone for the seeding of the slope, okay, so it may be more accurate and more efficient, so that get out for the advertisement please, and then it will be more accurate and efficient for the afforestation. And then you can see it's focusing on the area which is lack of vegetation, then which is more focused and also more effective. Okay, so that is the examination question drilling. Sorry for my face and my look, because you have seen that most of the forests have been burned away, but it is also very hard for me to find out this bedrock. So please get a good result for your DSE. Yeah. Okay, and this is the bedrock, and can you guess what is the weathering which is going to happen right here? And then you can let's have a closer look for you. Okay, a lot closer look for me, closer look for the rocks, I mean. Okay, and then you can find some of them are having some plants inside. So again, we cannot say this is just the physical weathering, and we can just say the dominant type of weathering is the physical weathering. And indeed there are some biological weathering right here too. Okay, I hope that you can see some plants right here. And then because I'm using selfie mode, and then Mr. Leung is too tired to change it, and you can see all my hand is like this. Okay, I almost climb everywhere, okay, using legs and my arms to walk through this kind of very horrible landscape. Okay, so we don't suggest you to go here. Okay, just Mr. Leung take suffer for you is fine. Okay, don't go there by your own. Okay, so you can see the physical weathering right here, and then you can see one of them is having some trees, and then it's a proof that the biological weathering may take place. Okay, the roots may be going to enhance the cracks that inside the rock, and then trying to make it like this. Okay, and I will show you. It's already 6 p.m. right now, so Mr. Leung indeed need to rush back to the civilization, because right here indeed there are low mobile signal as well. Okay, but anyway, I need to run, but I will show you more about this rock in different kinds of photo. Okay, what are they? Bye. Hello, it's in the midway of the the bedrock, and then you can see the view is indeed beautiful, but I'm too hot, and then the
weather is too sunny, and then so that I'm going to taking a rest behind the rocks. And meanwhile, I would like to introduce the rock to you, which is a bit darker than what you always see, but you can see right here, and then this is the real color of that. A bit tired, and then you can see this is the real color of the rocks, and then you should know that the yellow one should be the feldspar, and then there are some right, maybe a quartz, but I'm not sure because it's quite concentrated in specific area, certain area, so that I cannot conclude it must be a quartz. And then you can see it's quite having a lot of mica, so that is black in color. Okay, in the meanwhile, I also found something good that can introduce to you, and this one will be a kind of physical weathering, because right here you can see the landscape right here. It is quite coastal, and then what it's also a quite open area without any kinds of trees, and I know there's a lot of trees underneath, but I'm just talking about this rock. And then you can find out there is a lot of rains right here, and then you can see it's not really going to be very smooth for the rock size, and then you can see there's a lot of rain right here, and you can find out it is indeed there is different kinds of granular, different kinds of mineral right here, different kinds of grain right here, and which is different kinds in color. For example, this one I can take this out. This one should be, let's see, quite black in color, but somewhat bright indeed. But most of them I think is mica, and then some of them, let's see, I pick up another one which is movable. Most of the time which is movable is just mica, because relatively it is softer, more resistant to weathering. And then this one you can see there are some yellow in color, which I think it should be feldspar. And then so all together, and you can find the right grain is quite difficult to find because it's quite hard indeed. And then you can find out the distribution of the right in color, the mineral in right in color is quite densely distributed. Mainly it is right in color, and which is the mica like this, which is the quartz like this one. Okay, the only one that I can find which is totally in right in color. And so accordingly you can find out and it's not really smooth right here. Okay, sorry for my foot. Okay, I'll take it away. And then you can find out there is a lot of mineral right here. And how come there's a lot of mineral is because the granular disintegration. What is granular disintegration? And which is mainly because in between different kinds of rock, which including the feldspar, mica, and quartz, they are having different rates of contraction and expansion, which is talking about the different cooling and heating. Okay, so accordingly we can find out the different expansion. So accordingly the different rates of expansion will make the cracks and make the mineral become disintegrated from the parent material. And this one is just the one that I can sit in, and I want to show you another one, this one, which is more or less like this. And you can also find out there's a joint right here. Can you see the joint right here? I think this can become a block disintegration later on, maybe 1 million later or several thousand years later, I don't know. But you can find out in let's see, let me find a safe place to take the video. Wait a minute. And you can see right here, let me zoom into there, which is more or less right the same as the one that I'm sitting in right here. And then which is quite not very smooth and it's quite rough. And then you can find out, oh, this is a lot of granular right here. Okay, so you can find out the mostly like the landscape like here, like the landscape right here, which is quite open. You can find out the landscape right here, which is quite open, and then not really having a lot of trees in my area. So accordingly, the physical weathering will take place in this kind of open area, okay, or coastal area. On top of the physical weathering right here, I would also like to tell you there may be some biological weathering, and you can see there's a trees right here. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to walk there because it's quite steep indeed, okay. I haven't buy my insurance here, okay. And you can see there's a lot of trees which is ornithens that is growing along the trees, and throughout right here we can also find some gray in color, this one, okay. This one may be the lichens, okay. You can see there are some let me zoom into there, and you can find right here it is having some lichens right here， 地衣啊嗰類嚟嘅呢個係 ，OK lichens OK， and then it may be going to the root, may be going to disintegrate the rock. Moreover, it may hold some water on the surface of the rock, and which can favor the chemical weathering as well, okay. And also you can find there's a lot of trees right here, and then the tree roots may be enhancing the joint and become the rock like this, okay. Hello, and right here I'm in the Costa Rock Room. I don't know how to say in English because I even found out in the Google Earth there's no English translation, but most of the rock in this area do have the translation. I don't know why this one do not have the translation. And then you can see how the physical weathering work, and you can see the physical weathering is developing along the joint. I'm inside the weathered situation in the rock room, kind of rock room, and then you can find out the rock is developed, the joint is developing from the the physical weathering is developed throughout the joint. You can see there's a joint, and then throughout here, and then develop into a very large area but narrow area. So it's quite unusual for the entire Hong Kong landscape, and because most of the time the Hong Kong soil is smaller, which is made up by the chemical weathering, but right here you can see the rock is quite large, and the soil is quite coarse indeed, okay. So you can find out that the physical weathering really taking place, and then you can find out the rock is not really smooth again, and then you can find out there's a lot of physical weathering right here, okay. And then for here you can find out also the the biological weathering, the trees which is alive indeed. You can see the green leaf is right there, and then you can find out the tree is also helping to enlarging the joint, okay. Right here you can see the tree roots right here. So you may trying to ask what is the physical weathering and what is the bread rock in the which is really the bread, BLEAD I mean, and then in the Castle Peak is going to form. Actually you can find the similar things just like the Buddha hand in the palm hand should be not Buddha hand in Pao Tai Island. And also you can find this one, and you can see most of the time they are having a larger piece of rock. The resultant weather debris is relatively larger, and then this is how the Hong Kong physical weathering can be found. Most of the time you can find it in the coastal location, which is open and with a relatively larger temperature range. The temperature range is larger, okay. So accordingly they are receiving more heat and also receiving more cooling, and then which is the expansion and also the contraction of the rock will be stronger. So accordingly, what is the annotated diagram of the resultant landform? It should be like this. Where is it? Right here, okay. And then on a summer day,
is having a lot of sunshine, and then the rock is intensively heated by the strong sunlight, and it may because of the rain. Okay, if the rain suddenly take place, and then it will provide a stronger cooling effect, and then the expansion and the contraction is stronger, and then the repeated expansion and contraction will enlarge the cracks of the rock. Large landmass will speed away from the main rock from the along the cracks. So no matter which is from the tough area, because you should have watched the High Island Reservoir movies, which is talking about the tough, and then indeed it is quite strong, and if it is quite strong, and the weathering is hard to take place, and right there the weather type is relatively larger, but for here also if it's prone to the physical weathering, just like the Costa rock room 十字星石室or even the bedrock 麵包石 in the Castle Peak, it is most of the time talking about this kind of block disintegration. 呢個會叫 block disintegration 啦。And then you may tell us, oh, I have suffered and other kinds of weathering in the past paper. Indeed, yes, the remaining one I haven't introduced to you is the exfoliation, which is just in the 橋咀島, Killjoy Island in the 西貢, okay, which is wait a minute, I want to show you EP1 past paper, okay, and you may find a past paper of EP1 talking about this also. This one, is it? Not this one. This one is just the question bank, and then let's see. This one, not really also, because it's just the essay. So I'm not going to show here lah. Let's see I can find one or not. Yeah, it is one, yeah. So you can find out there's a question talking about exfoliation also. Okay, exfoliation, which is last year, not last year, 19 it should be. So although I have written down this is the salt crystal growth, and they are indeed doing it together, okay, and then the most of the time right here, exfoliation, you can find the word exfoliation, 好似菠蘿包咁樣片狀剝落 in Chinese, just like a pineapple bun, okay, 好似個菠蘿包咁樣嘅 okay, then this is the exfoliation, which is also a kind of physical weathering indeed, okay, which caused by the pressure, not really the pressure indeed release, but it's the maybe it's too open for the rock, okay, the rock is in an open area, and then the heating is strong, and then the cooling is also strong, so accordingly they are having more expansion and more contraction. The contrast is large, okay. Outer layer rock is maybe removed by the erosion, and finally the inner rock may also expand, then it will show some joint appear in the rock. So this is also exfoliation, which is also a kind of physical weathering.
Hello, and then this is the Costa rock room. I just entered it and then take a lot of horrible picture inside, and then right here is I just want to tell you that the physical weathering is not the only way that is taking place in Hong Kong. Let's see, when we are having physical weathering, meanwhile, what is in my step, and you can find that there's still a lot of bad land links to the physical weathering. So every time when you are trying to answering the question in the DSE, I think physical weathering and chemical weathering have to be identified first of all, but they can be taking place together, okay. So you can see there's still a lot of big rock right here, but meanwhile there's a reels, gullies, and also badland right here formed by the chemical weathering. So no matter what, and it should be physical weathering and also chemical weathering and also biological weathering, as I just shown in the Costa rock room, can be taken place together. Okay, so you can see the chemical weathering will be here. And also I would better leave right now because you can see the sun is going to be sunset, and this is the spring eclipse of the sunset, which is talking about the overhead sun right now is in the equator. Okay, overhead sun is in the equator, and right now today for Hong Kong, okay, and it will be having the theoretically it is having the longer daytime as from the summer as winter solstice. Okay, so right now we are going to have a longer daytime, and today is March of 20. Okay, 20 of March. Sorry for because I keep up and down, and it's quite exhausting, so that my mind is not very in a proper situation now. Okay, a bit dehydrated, so that my mind is not very okay to talk about a lot of things. And so this is the sunset for you, and hope you can have a good future and work hard for your DSE. Bye. Hello, is in the one of the peak near to the Castle Peak, and then you can see there's quite a lot of ship which is going to transiting the sand, and for the area next to us you can find out there's a lot of sand which is accumulated in here, and then there are some I'm not sure whether which is really the sand that from the brothers, and actually the brothers is in our eyesight right now, which is this island. These two islands indeed is the brothers already. And if you have we listening in the dynamic earth lesson, and I keep talking about that the brothers is the area that the ship can which is allowed to tap the sand for the marine fuel. Okay, marine fuel. And then you should know that marine fuel is one of our popular landfill nowadays that is doing the reclamation, and which include the international airport, and also the Long May Bridge, maybe, which is really tapping the sand from here, and which is one of the very important marine fuel tapping sites. Okay,